Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bossing It Sessions. I am your host, Topher. Has it been a while? Did you miss me? Either which way, I know either which way is bullshit. Yes, it has been a while. No, you have not missed me. But, hey, look at my dragon. But things are completely weird, out of control, and everything is going on. Yes and no. We may talk about poop. Who cares? I actually can say this with a humorous thing, and I will say this: if anybody wants to talk about poop, talk about it. It's a bodily function, first off. Secondly, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, if you're stuck up, don't know any better, or anything like that, or you want to judge me because I'm from Boston, it's like, hey, look, he's talking about crap. Listen, if you're gonna give friends of mine agita about it, because that's what they do, don't do it. Listen, I read a thing. I'm not going to say where it is because I don't want to follow it up. But like, it's also like, you know, when you go on to, what do you call it? We got SpeakPipe. I didn't know if somebody was burping, crapping their pants, or like wondering what the hell like was going on with their bottle. I really just cleaned my glasses and it did not help. But when I look at a Reddit post and someone rambles on about how they love someone's show, they're doing everything in a high water in order to make it, you know, exactly what it is, and it's perfect for their time to like listen, that's great. But when it comes down to it, you get turned off because it mentions poop. Here's a highlight I'll give you. Okay? Yes, we've got the new cans on. Hopefully, like, the video looks good on YouTube. And anybody listening and anybody following, and I want to, like, this is the only time I'll say this. I want to get to 50 followers because one of the things I want to do is I want to turn on TikTok Live. Yes, we are on TikTok. An old fuck like me is on TikTok. Can you believe that? And it's amazing that they have more content than what you'd expect. Yes, they have cats, they have dogs, they have everything, but they have poops. But why do I bring this up? I hate to break it to you. You poop. Your dog poops. Your cat poops. Hey, guess what? Your next door neighbor poops. Their furry, fuzzy homeland animal poops. Okay? Their significant other poops. Your significant other poops. Your mom and dad poops. There's nothing wrong with it. It's talk. It's chat. If you don't like it, turn it off. Go to another station for a couple minutes. Go back and see if they're still talking about fecal matter. I can sit here and give you the shittiest end of the stick all I want. Or, okay, feces among us can be thrown all around the place. But I don't want to tell you about like a crappy situation, and I don't want to sit there and bombard you with mookie stinks, drop pellets, or anything of that nature, okay, that's going to make you feel completely uncomfortable. Now that we've got that out of the way, there's going to be some fun stuff going on, so I'm giving you like the beauteous heads up. I'm going to try to do a couple things as I can, because one of the things I've been looking at is I was not prepared. I've still been trying to recover from last weekend. My knee has been shot to crap. I've basically been in the house a lot. I went down to Connecticut for a convention. And my knee has basically been shot since Sunday night. Coming home, resting. I've been out a couple times. I did see my boy Joe Murray on Saturday. He was at the Best Flipping Card Show in Woburn. Yes, Jeff, your card show is amazing. There you go. It is the best flipping card show. It's not a line. When I went down there, I hung out with him. We watched start of the Patriots game. We've got a couple topics of conversation in there. The majority of it was like, yeah, I was standing, I was stretching out the knee. It still felt like crap, and it still does. It's even bad. My mom gave me a cane to walk on. It's like, I'm hobbling, but it makes for fanfare. It makes for what it is. There's nothing wrong with it, you know. I mean, it could be as bad as, you know, Mookie stinks among us. It could be as much as anything else. Who knows? Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Mr. Hankey. So, I'm going to start off like differently because I'm going to tell you a couple stories here or there. Yes, I was down at Mohegan Sun. And yes, my first TikTok on Boston concessions was me driving a truck saying I'm going down to Connecticut. I'm excited about Roman Anthony getting signed to his deal. We might bring that back up a little bit. We might go like a different route. But I went down to Connecticut. I was hanging in like the big boys layer. Like it was Mohegan. And I know a lot of people have that concern. Foxwoods is better than Mohegan. Mohegan's better than Foxwoods. If you haven't been down to New England and you haven't gone down to Connecticut, where you can have the simple fight of Mohegan versus Foxwoods, you might not have experienced a lot of things in your life, and you might want to try. I myself, like Mohegan, there was a lot of things going on. I can't tell you, Ben and Jerry's was open till 2 a.m. Johnny Rockets is open till 5 a.m. And if nobody knows what Johnny Rockets is, we're going to have a longer talk. I dealt with one of the convention days. I was exhausted. I went back to the room. I fell asleep for about 2 hours. I woke up. I'm like, dude, I have not eaten yet. What the hell is the matter with me? I don't even know if anything's open to what I can get. It's about like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I know some of the eateries, like, they stop what they're doing. Nope. I walked past, and Johnny Rockets was open. I've never been so excited to have a hamburger. I should say a cheeseburger, because I did have a cheeseburger with, like, you know, the fixings and whatnot. But then I had tater tots with cheese sauce. And, you know, you're thinking like, hey, like, you know, 25, 30-year-old person having that. Yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah, when you're my age and you have something like that, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I haven't splurged in that manner of like going crazy in a while. So to me, it was well worth it. I will give this shout because it is amazing. I was down at Terrificon. What is Terrificon, you ask? It is a New England convention in the state of Connecticut done at Mohegan Sun. It is run by a fine gentleman named Mitch. He does a lot of promotion for it. He gets wonderful actors, actresses, writers, artists, people who have been in like music, television, etc. You name it, Mitch knows them, talks with them, gets them down here, gets them in all one roof, and your mind just goes, oh. So I went down a vent. It was a great moment. We had a laugh. It was a wonderful time. My body hated me for it. And all in all, I did have my laptop, and I'm like, you know something? I'm going to try to do a pod. If I can't do the video, I'll do a podcast in another way. I'll basically just do the audio. Audio was crap. Video was crap. It wasn't allowing me to do anything. I did like 2 test runs. And I'm like, I can't give you guys solid anything that's going to sound monumental or whatnot. So I'm not going to do this. But I can't tell you, being around comic books, being around like the whole shebang, it was a great time. There was the Johnny Rockets moment, also being told that they have Ben and Jerry's there, and then finding out they're 2 a.m. Marshmallow Sky is to die for. as an ice cream. But then there was one thing that kind of shocked me when I did it. Michael Jordan has a steakhouse there. I was shocked to shit. Oh, like, am I really gonna go in and like have a steak from Michael Jordan's like whole thing going on? Okay. So I went up to my room. I relaxed a little bit. My friend was like, "Hey, dude, you gotta come down. You gotta check this out. Like, you coming? Are you coming?" I was like, "Yeah." I had a beer at the sports bar. I was relaxing my mind off. And that was just a tempt of what was going on. One beer, couple of nachos, just relax, do your thing. Main event time, 9:30, Saturday night, right into the steakhouse, right into like a great table. They've got like this little light. It's not candlelight, but it's if you hit it, everything goes off. It happened once or twice, where it's, hey, the light's going this way, the light's going this way. I gotta try to figure it out. Still, all in all, wonderful, great time. And then comes down to the steak itself. Now, I could tell you, in some way, what I had, because I am one of those guys that every once in a while, when I see something really, really good, I will take a photo of it. But I will also give you a photo of what the hell was in it. So the steaksmanship, it's an experience for 2 or more people to enjoy. That's the breakdown. So the Flight 23, which, by the way, these are all Michael Jordan signatures. If you don't know who Michael Jordan is, you're not of this planet. If you think LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, again, you're not from this planet. The Flight 23, a 7-ounce filet mignon, an 18-ounce ribeye, USDA prime New York strips of 16 ounces, and 8 ounces of grilled Italian sausage. Anybody can have 1 or 2, like, if you're 1 person, 2 person, whichever which way you're looking at, that is a life-sizable meal for anybody to enjoy, kick back, relax, and go, holy crap, this is probably something I'm going to like to divulge into. That is $180 of food. $180 of food. Not only am I like looking at that going like, oh man, like I've got the meat sweats, my wallet is going, oh my God, I'm going to have to like give something. And I did have a friend that looked at me and said, no, you're helping with this. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting here. Okay. Gotcha. So the Flight 23 is mentioned. But the Flight 23 is overlooked. Because then there's the MVP flight. You get the Flight 23 introduction to Michael Jordan as the number 23, but then you get the MVP flight, which is he's the most valuable player. Most valuable prime beef? I don't know. So the MVP flight is a 30-day dry-aged Kansas City strip that is 18 ounces. American Wagyu strip of 12 ounces. A prime sirloin steak of 10 ounces. 5 ounces of grilled brat. And filet mignon at 10 ounces. Already, food blown away. Everything else, so large and in charge. Are you expecting a lot? It was ridiculous. But there's more. A legendary flight exists. Mind you, the MVP flight is $240. So you go from 180 to 240, you're basically spending another $60. You definitely get some more meats. The meats change. You go from the grilled Italian sausage to a bratwurst, which is huge. But that dry aged Kansas City strip and the Wagyu strip, that's going above and beyond what your expectation is. But when they add more of a legendary, how legendary can it be? Start off with a 42-ounce tomahawk. The 30-day dry Kansas City strip, the American Wagyu. Then you're going back to the grilled Italian sausage. But they also include the bratwurst for you as well. Here's where the legendary flight basically takes you on another level. 4 sauteed tiger shrimp. Not shrimp, tiger shrimp. And 1 pound of half a Maine lobster. This is $340. People order this. Not saying what the hell, but people order this. Some people get it as a, hey, let's split this. 340 divided by 6 people sounds good. Divided by 4 people sounds even better. Good God Almighty. So you would think someone dipped into something. Well, we ordered the MVP flight. But then came the question. If we ordered the MVP flight, can we change something? Yes, you can. You can add. So our bill came to $370 just for the meat alone to have the sweats. The MVP flight was ordered, but the 42-ounce tomahawk steak was then added. Yeah. All that meat plus 42 ounces of tomahawk. But you can't just stop at the steak, the meats, the everything on the table. You have to have the Gran Reserva. It is a Roscia. It is a wine. Red. It was insane. $150 for the bottle. I'm saying this because I've cooked a lot of times in my life. I've made food for 150 people, 280 people. I've made food that will blow your mind. But I've never sat at a table and spent anything over $40 for a damn meal. Never. Why? If I could cook it at home, there's no reason for me to go out and eat it in that way. Even if it's like a function or something like that, like it's been low. I don't go crazy. But this was holy crap on another level. So there was so much meat and so much juice. I'll give it to like Michael Jordan Steakhouse. Holy crap. It was probably one of the better experiences. Am I probably going to do this again? No. If somebody buys it again and they say, hey, come along, you're going to help us, I'll consider that. But would I buy into this and like actually spend that much on a steak? Nah. But I know 2 things. One, I consider when I go down to like Terrificon, I consider it vacation. I'm out of the state. I'm away from everything going on. It's a chance for me to unwind. And somebody brought up this when I said I was going down to Terrificon, they're like, oh, well, you're vending. That's working. No. Let's back up a sec. Am I working? Am I vending? Yes, I am. Am I around something that I love? Yes. I believe Letterkenny said it perfectly. Do something you love, you never work a day in your life. It's a beautiful thing. When I'm around something like that, around beautiful people that I love, adore, people that run other shops, people that say hi to me, I say hi to them. I'm around good people, good fare, good everything around me. That is not work. If you treat it like work, there's something wrong here. That is not work. What Mitch does for Terrificon, and I'm stating this because I love this show for reasons, what he does for the show can probably be constituted half work and half play. Because it shows. There's a lot of stuff that he puts into it. There's a lot of things that he does. It just makes you have like one of these wonderful experiences that just make you it takes you on another plane of existence. For me, wonderful. So, is it work? No. What's the other reason why I don't consider it work? I'm staying at Mohegan Sun. Mohegan Sun, one of the top-notch places to stay. The beds, wow. The whole place is like a fun-filled factory for people over 22. I went into a nightclub, for crying out loud, where I saw the whitest white people, and I'm not being off base with this, where I saw the whitest white people dance. If I could film and show you, it was like something out of an 80s movie with bad dancing and bad everything. From the grinding to the way you shake, the way you move, the way you do. Some of the people, just the way they were dressed. Like one person was dressed to the nines, and some guys in shorts and a t-shirt, and they're getting down. And I'm not knocking it in any which way. They're probably doing the same thing I am. I'm on vacation. I'm dressing how I want to. I'm going into this club. Mind you, I went into the club. I had a t-shirt and shorts on. So what am I thinking? I'm standing out like crazy. But it was a great time. It was fun. It was relaxing. Okay? I took $40. I played roulette for like a little bit. I was down to my last $2. I went back up to 22. I'll walk away losing $18. I had fun. I went up. I slept on a gorgeous bed. I had the most opportune time with everything going on. It was a dream. And now I'm back here. So why do I mention this on a sports podcast? Well, I did mention Michael Jordan's Steakhouse. It is Michael Jordan of all things. But it's an experience I had. It's why I wasn't here. Am I letting you guys know why I'm not here? Yeah. I mean, I know there's nobody rushing to the things like, hey, where's Topher? Hey, where's Boston Concessions? Hey, what's going on? We saw him start a TikTok, and now he's just disappeared off the planet. Yes, this is true. But I'd rather say, hey, I'm here. I'm having fun. I'm doing my thing. And I did miss some people that leave comments, but they're still messaging me like, hey, did you see this game? Hey, you doing this? Hey, you still doing our Yahoo fantasy football? Yes. Which, mind you, I'm giving we're 25 minutes in. I will state this. It is going to be a extremely high level of stuff. The draft is at 8:30 Wednesday. I will be live on YouTube with my Yahoo draft, talking to everybody, and you can join in, and you can tell me that guy sucks, that guy's a great pick, you're going to do great with that. you can pump me up for all you want. I'm going to try to get a guest if they want to like join me. By all means, it's going to be probably the most fun that we've had in a while since the SSBN guys actually came on. Okay, when Gilly and Steve were here, it was flooring, and we love that. We love those boys. That's why we're here. When I came back, I then came to find that hey, there was a lot of things going on. I also found out that Heinz ketchup is doing a smoothie. I've sent this to a couple people. I think this is completely disgusting and gross. But if anybody's in on a Heinz smoothie, if anybody likes a Heinz smoothie, if people like ketchup that much where you want to bathe in it, roll in it, do anything with it, go for it. Me? Keep it away from me. I like ketchup. I like where it goes. I don't overindulge. And the one thing I will not do is I will not, under any circumstances, put it anywhere in a beverage that I'm going to drink. That is complete and absolute no-no. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, while recuperating, I finally, considering I was working for like, getting ready for the convention, I had no time at all. I was able to get Superman on digital. I also, because it was on sale, was able to get Thunderbolts on digital. Is it wrong that I liked Thunderbolts a hell of a lot more than Superman? Anybody want to tell me why? If you guys are like hits with movies, I love movies. I mention them all the time. I go through like a lot of stuff here. Let me tell you, Superman was good. It had not real like I mean, I don't want to say it had like a lot of nostalgia. It had like a lot of drop points, but the storyboard on the movie felt broken. Like Lex mad, okay, that happens all the time. The aspect of going back and forth, some kaiju monster showing up, like a lot of things, like where the Justice Gang fit into the whole scenario, why they were there, why they were only 3. Even for the fact of where Metamorpho was in the movie, just something didn't roll right. And I know James Gunn does really good. Like Guardians 1, 2, 3. It basically connected everything together because you have to have a pattern. You have to have things. And I know people want to get away from, oh, we're not doing the origin. We're not doing this. That's great. But this is your Superman. This is your new Superman. There is something to him that you have to explain. You don't. You didn't. You left a lot of things out. You left things high and dry. And if you notice, I'm also not breaking laws and rules of telling you, hey, I'm dropping, so many hints about what this movie is. All I'm doing is saying things I didn't like. And I'm very vague with it because I don't want to spoil it for you. The comment I can say is go see Superman. If you can see it in the theater, great. If you can see it on digital, fantastic. If it pops up on HBO Max, more, less, here, there, the other, whatever the hell they're calling HBO Max now. If it shows up somewhere there, great, good, wonderful, check it out. Moving to Thunderbolts, there was a lot of things in that were still kind of missing, but Story, fluid. Going over, like, who the villain was? Great. Teasing of a 1, 2, 3 villain? Sure. Getting rid of a couple things in the beginning, in the middle, in the end? Great. Your focus was still there. Everything was still going on. It's what you want in a movie, keeping things fluid. I found that the fluidity in Thunderbolts was completely where it needed to be than Superman. The one thing I will tell you is when you do watch Superman, do me a favor, drop this in the comments, drop this anywhere you literally want to. The one thing I couldn't stand was his parents. I made a comment to somebody and I said, "Do you find this off base?" And they're like, "What's off base about it?" Ma and Pa Kent have always been one of the most compassionate, wonderful people on the planet. But they've also been more of a backbone to what Superman was. This felt like it was attacking Midwestern America, where they didn't seem as down to earth and with it as they normally do. So it's either I missed something, I missed the bus on what they were changing, or this felt like an attack on rural America, basically stating, "Hey, this is what we think of Midwesterns," and I'm not for that. Um, it if you feel the same way, great. If I'm off base, please tell me. But that's how I perceived it. And of course, I could be wrong. I could be thinking too much into it. But for characters like that, where they're supposed to fuel the fire, I didn't see it. And yes, the one thing I can say is, if anybody rewatches this movie, please let me know, because one of the things I want to do is, were you excited to the fact that James Gunn was doing it after Peacemaker? Were you excited to the fact that James Gunn is taking over the universe and creating the whole DC wonderkin of what everything was going on? Or is it something to where you wanted a Superman that is going to be completely and utterly different? I didn't care for Superman. David Cornsweet, whatever his name is, hit or miss. Didn't care. Um, the chick who played Lois just felt dry. It wasn't the Lois Lane that I know is really hard hitting, really factual. It's like she was combative a lot. And it was something about being a different Lois than what I'm used to over the, what, 80, 90 years of Superman. And this is how Lois has adapted, developed. There's one thing if a character's been around for like 5, 10 years and you decide to change it in order to make it boom. I'm great. If a character's been around for 80, 90 years and you decide to change it to make it like absolute, you know, what you think is strong, but to me it's trash, I'm not for it. There's a couple other things I can say without ruining the movie, but yeah. So Superman, I'd give like a 5, maybe a 5.5. I was originally giving it a 4.5 because I felt really weak on it. Um, Nicholas Holt, love that guy. Great actor. Looked the part of Luthor. Didn't act it. Maybe it's because I've been given Gene Hackman. Or maybe there was something I found with Kevin Spacey that was phenomenal. Or maybe I'm just so used to Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville that he's just got that panache that I like a hell of a lot more. Um, there were They were just things that didn't resonate with me. I'm okay with it. I know everybody basically went nuts. Everybody was hyped. But like I said, going back to Thunderbolts, I thought that was like a 7. There were still pieces that were broken. There was still a lot of things that made me feel uneasy. All in all, I'm kind of disappointed now. Like, I'm really nervous for like if I ever see Fantastic Four or get to see Fantastic Four. Am I gonna be like blown away? Is it gonna be like I'm gonna be disappointed? Is it gonna be something I want to like look away from? It's kind of like how I feel about Boston sports. Because why? Because, well, Patriots are back. And I know, like, I went on this long rant of like 30 something minutes of where I've been, what I've been doing, how everything's been going on. But let's talk about the Red Sox for a minute. Why? Take tonight's game, for example. Tonight's game was probably where it should have been something completely in the books, completely closed off. And there is something I'm going to bring up that is completely and utterly logical. Boston Red Sox, Miami Marlins. Boston Red Sox looking way above 500. I'm loving it. Miami Marlins, 59 and 65. They're below. It's completely all right. Garrett Crochet on the mound. So what's the instant thing that you're holding back? Well, first off, you got Garrett Crochet on the mound. How is this actually going to be horrible? Well, if you look at this very, very easily, you will not see anything that is going to be completely horrible. You are looking at Garrett Crochet, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Who is that? Garrett Crochet. It's the reason why we signed him. The reason why we traded for him. The reason why we brought him to Boston. To do things like that. Okay? He let up a run in the 3rd. That was completely fine. Okay? The 7 innings pitched. He got in there. Garrett Whitlock came in, gave an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run. That's okay. It's the 8th. Greg Weissert comes in. Lets up 2 runs. Steve Matz comes in. Lets up another run. So now it's 5-3 because the Red Sox on the 4th, they had a 2-run blast. Was phenomenal. In the 7th, they got another run. Here they are up 3-1. Very close game. What is Greg Weissert and Steven Matz doing in that game? Better yet, what is Greg Weissert doing in that game? He just blew the lead. Why? Here's another question. Where's Aroldis Chapman? Where is Aroldis Chapman? So, it's the 17th. I'm looking at a 7-5 game. Aroldis Chapman pitched 0.1 innings. Didn't even pitch a full inning. Pitched a third of an inning. Isaiah Campbell covered it. Isaiah Campbell let up 3 runs. 3 runs in the 9th. So it was 7-2. Isaiah Campbell came in, let up 3. You couldn't put someone else in order to hold that game? Because Brian Bello went in 6.1 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 Ks. did his job. Justin Wilson went in, closed it out. Steven Matz went in, closed it out. Isaiah Campbell comes in, squishy. You needed Aroldis Chapman to do the last out. Okay. So, the night before, what am I looking at now? Lucas Giolito, 6.1 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks. Justin Wilson, in there. Garrett Whitlock, in there. Aroldis Chapman, 1 inning, 1 K. I want to see if it shows how many pitches he threw. I'm looking at 860 in Miami. He did 1 batter faced, 3 pitches, 2 strikes, and 1 ground ball. Three pitches. That was last night. I mean, not last night, but that was the previous night. 8:15 played Miami. Full inning pitched. 11 pitches. 9 strikes. 3 strikes looking. 1 swinging strike. 1 ground ball. 1 fly ball. 1 pop-up. Inning over. Red Sox win. The last time he pitched was 8-9, where they lost. He had an inning pitched. He was on 4 days rest. This time he's on 5 days rest. I'm going to ask somebody very, very directly. Would you pitch Aroldis Chapman in this game? My sights on after thinking of this, I'm asking him if he would pitch. If he says yes, I'm putting him in because you needed him. You just had your bullpen come in for the second game in a row and blow so much garbage out your rectal cavity. Yep, there it goes, talking about poop again. I guess like I'm in the shakes and rattles. But you've got so much blowing to the fact that you just blew this game. This was always the Achilles heel of this team. Right now, I can state this very, very clearly. You have the best option available in everywhere you're looking with what you see in the lineup. You have probably a good 1, 2, 3, which is why I never blamed Craig Breslow for not pulling the trigger on Joe Ryan if he was not having to give up so much. Cool. Great. I've moved on from it. A lot of people still haven't. That's their fault. And there's also reasons why I still bring up Rafael Devers. Why? He sucks. But I'm looking at these 3 games right now, this 3 series against the Marlins. Why is Aroldis Chapman not pitching? Why? Someone tell me why he is not out there throwing ball strikes, whatever. This is also where I find Alex Cora's vision of whatever he does lacking. If anybody looks at me and tells me the reason they're winning is because of Alex Cora's leadership, I'm going to ask you, do you have on Houston knee pads or Red Sox knee pads? Because Alex Cora is not, I repeat, not the reason why these Red Sox are winning. They're not. No way, ands, or bounds. He makes more mistakes with pitchers than he does anything else. If I'm the holiest of man himself, the one thing I'm doing is I'm asking Aroldis Chapman, do you feel comfortable pitching? Do you want to go out there and close out the game? We will give you the following night off. That's fine and dandy. Because you're playing the Orioles. The Orioles. Let me state this again. You're playing the Orioles. 57-67. For what you have and what you think is going to be going on when you have a game that is won and you do not in any which way, shape, or form back up your starting pitcher, you have failed in what you're doing. Judge me all you want. To me, it's a failure. Failure. Why am I seeing it as a failure? Because that game should have been won. It should have been locked in the bag, and you should have went into the ninth ready to close it out. Aroldis Chapman should have went right in there and held his ground. I mean, hell, probable pitchers for tomorrow night, Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers. He's not bad. You know, he's actually having a decent year for what he's doing. He's 5-2, 1.43 ERA. It's 11 games, though. Is he touchable? Sure. And then who's your probable? Dustin May. If you went out and you got Dustin May, you had faith in him that you're basically going to put him in and drive him to do what he needs to do. What is the reason you would not use Chapman again to give him this night off? I need to know that just as much as anybody else needs to know that. Here's a reason why. And I wish Alex Cora was listening, because I would call him a stupid yumbag for what he is. Ever since I started this podcast, I've made it very official. I don't like Alex Cora. I think he's trash management. Why do I think he's trash management? Because he thinks he's what's best for everybody. But everybody isn't being motivated by him. They're being motivated by other people. They're being motivated by Alex Bregman. They're being motivated by Jarren Duran. They're being motivated by the young outfield that wants to pop and make things happen. They're being motivated by pitching Because there's some guys on this team that have flashing leather that want to show you what they can do and why they can do it and how they can do it. You know what they don't need? A dried up, washed up, cheating son of a bitch, okay, that isn't good for his testicles, okay, within the fact of Alex Cora. Hey, you know who put the team up here? Breslow. Give the man credit for what he did. He had the guys downstairs. He knew everything was going to be tough. He knew some of the signings were going to be big. He also knew he had his work cut out for him, but what did he do to challenge it? He brought the little guys up here. Roman Anthony, now on the team. You could only hit home runs downstairs for so long. If it was anybody else, if it was Dombrowski, if it was Ben Cherington, hell, if it was Chaim Bloom, he would have told you, oh, Roman Anthony is my special project. Look at how great it is down in the minors. Those guys would have never saw the light of day, and Ben Cherington would have fed them to like fodder. I mean, look at what he's doing. Like, look at everybody else right now. Chaim Bloom doesn't have a job. Who cares? Ben Cherington's blowing it. And I mean blowing it. You want to talk about knee pads there, buddy? Okay, he's earning his pinstripes, if you know what I mean. Okay, he's down in Pittsburgh. We've had Travis on here. He's from the area. He's a Pirates fan. He knows to the fact of how badly that guy sucks nuggets. Dombrowski, hey, what are you doing in Philly? You're making everything work. Great. Where's your young guys? Oh, right. We traded them off. We want big guys. We want the guys who are going to score, the guys who are going to pitch, the guys who are going to do everything. That's what we want in here. Let's not go for the small guys. Let's get those big guys in here. Here they are. Now what? That's what some of your guys are doing now. When you sit and explain what your current GM is doing versus the powder puff that is your manager, there's a reason why some aspects are blowback. Okay? You knew, hey, Alex, we got you here. It's great. We're going to do what we can. Going to make it a winning combination. He hasn't. The only time he had a winning combination was before COVID. And in no way, shape, or form did anybody back the team from that year. Because a lot of it was gutted. And then what was he met with? If he's the magic whistle maker that's supposed to make the team fantastic, why didn't he do that with the guys who were failing? Why did some guys fail and some guys succeed? Why were other people here wanting to do what they were going to do and Alex Cora not care? Draws a line in the sand. How was your expectation done? There it is. But why? What is so different from this year than other years? Very easy. Okay? You're taking Craig Breslow and you're working with what you have. Because you know that Roman Anthony is one of the top prospects in baseball. And he's showing you down in the minors. Don't flash it. Flaunt it. He put him out there. Christian Campbell. Signed to a low-end deal. The same thing with Roman Anthony. Signed to like a deal that can make things work for like a long period of time. It means Roman's going to be here. It means Campbell's going to be here. That is a beautiful thing. That's what you want. And I loved every minute of it. You got Marcelo Meyer. He came up. He showed the flashy leather. He showed his defense. Showed a little bit of what he can do offense-wise. And right now, I'm reading 3 reports of people that are bummed out, pissed off, and crying like absolute bitch babies. Why? Why? Because he's out for the year? When he knows his wrist cannot do what is needed to be done, and he either has a second opinion where the team probably would have made him play, or it's like, dude, it's only my rookie year. I've got multiple years ahead of me. Let's get it healed and done right, and let's get me back for spring training. Marcelo, good job, dude. You'll be back next year. You'll be back doing what you need to, and take the win for what it is. It's not like you're going anywhere. You're a young, hot prospect that's going to be coming up multiple times. Great. Who else you got? Zidane Rafaela blowing it up. Who else you got? Weiler Abreu blowing it up. Hey, by the way, who's that shortstop that they've got? Because last I checked, he was injured last year. And then the only thing I ever heard about him was people talking. I almost want to swear. You know something? I'm going to talk, and I'm going to say it. Okay? How many Red Sox fans talked shit about Trevor Story and then watched him get injured where he could not help the team and battled to get back from injury? How many talked the fecal matter that came out of people's mouth? Here we go, talking about shit again. It's a crappy situation. But let the log roll. What is it? Seriously. I need to know. I want to know. That's right. Trevor fucking Story is making a story for Red Sox fans all over to eat his shorts because he's playing the most phenomenal ball he has since his first few years in Colorado. He's healthy. He's focused. Do you really think that's an Alex Cora thing? No. That's a Bregman thing. That's a Duran thing. That's a, hey guys, you're making me feel young, and I'm going to show you what I've got in it. Because Trevor Story is one of the biggest stories this year. 19 home runs, 79 RBIs, 120 hits for the year, 258 batting average. 32 years of age. You got him for a steal at $20 million. You know the worst part that I could say about this? I never thought I would do this. I'm looking at Xander Bogaerts this year versus Trevor Story this year. That's a huge difference. I've already given you Trevor's line. Xander's 266. 2 less hits. He's got 43 RBIs and 10 home runs. That's the absolute difference between him and Trevor Story. And guess what? Bogey's 32. Trevor Story is probably the biggest story because everybody did not know that how badly he needed to play. But somebody knew that if he got that shot and needed to do what he was doing from the moment he was with Colorado to the moment he was traded to what he's looking at now, because I'll tell you, from him being here, it has not been easy. Okay? He played 94 games his first year, 43 his second, 26 his third. He's played right now 120 games. Looking at his batting average, which I think actually reflects from tonight, which is 260. He's a lifetime 264 average hitter. His average while being in Boston is 244. He's making a huge deal for what he is. And if I look at his 260 average, when he was 23, he batted 272 in 97 games. In 2017, at 24 years of age, he batted 239. In 2018, where he was an all-star, and I believe 8th in the MVP voting, he batted 291. The following year, 26, he was 294. 2020, it was 59 games. He was 289. And then 28, at 2021, he was 251. His worst year was in Boston. He hit 203. But it was only 43 games at his 30th year. And right now, he is looking like what he was exactly before anything else was going on. It's what he needed. And he's looking like a rock star. He's looking like what you want to see in your shortstop. Xander Bogaerts, if I really look at him, if we kept him, he is done 2023, 2024, and 2025. 2023, he had a 285 average. So it follows suit with everything he was doing because there's been 1, 2, 3, 4 years that he was over 300. Last year, he was 264. This year, he's averaging 268. He's dropped. But his WAR for defense and everything that you're looking at is not far off from Trevor. I have an absolute feeling to the fact that like people were looking at Trevor Story more than they were looking at Xander Bogaerts. I would have loved to have both of them. But right now, Trevor's the hottest thing right now going off. I'm glad we stuck with where we are and what we're doing, because it shows that you're looking at value versus other things. And who knows? Xander Bogaerts over the next 3 years, instead of signing with San Diego, staying with Boston, could have been fantastic. And what's to say that next year Marcelo Meyer doesn't, come in? If you look at what everybody really wanted, there is that lack. There is that kind of piece that if you still had Rafael Devers here, if you still had Xander Bogaerts, Trevor Story, would you have signed Alex Bregman is the bigger question. Because you can just move Bogey over to third. Kristen Campbell to second. Trevor Story to third. Marcelo Meyer, second or third. Would Bogaerts actually have given a chance at first base? Good question. Would he have been impactful? Would he have gotten Rafael Devers to go to DH with no ifs, ands, or buts? Would he also been able to talk to Devers about playing first? Huge, huge questions. Why are these questions relevant? Well, I'll tell you. Because when you have a friendship like Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, what is the biggest thing you're looking for? What one will do for the other to make things gel. And you're not seeing a lot of that. Now you're seeing a lot of things getting rid of Rafael Devers, who felt destroyed and wrongful by Craig Breslow. But I've said this on this podcast, and I'll say it still to the day is long. When you have a person like Rafael Devers do your job, once the job is done, show that you've got the job done properly. Then call out what was going on. Your voice will be 30 times stronger and heard than if you whine, go out there, pitch a fit, complain about A and B, be the cancer of the locker room, and then get traded. Not only do you get traded, you get traded to a very good team that is now not showing its muster. You're on the team now. And here's a side note that I said to somebody. A lot of people, when the signing happened, thought Buster Posey was God. Buster Posey went out and sent a couple pieces to the Boston Red Sox, and they got Rafael Devers. Hey, in the offseason, they went out and got Justin Verlander. They're building the team. They're making it spectacular. Anybody want to tell me how Buster Posey's doing right now? Anyone? Because I'll tell you the biggest thing. The Rafael Devers trade is not going over really well. He's had his highest strikeout rate since his rookie year. He is completely uncomfortable. And it shows. By the way, you signed Justin Verlander. Let me see how Justin Verlander is doing. He's 1-9. 1-9, 4.23 ERA, 95 Ks. Wow. I will give him this credit. He pitched 2 days ago. Versus the Rays. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 8 Ks. 8 Ks. See, if I'm looking at his starts, the Athletics were horrible. 3 innings. The Blue Jays were horrible. 2.2. 9 hits. The Athletics, 7 hits. But the 7 innings pitched on August 16th was the longest inning he has pitched this year. His second is there's one against the White Sox where he actually did pretty good. He didn't have a lot of strikeouts. But the Phillies, where he had 2 earned runs with 4 runs on 7 hits, 6 innings pitched, he had 7 Ks. He has been he has done 6 or more Ks 1, 2, 3, 4 times this year. That's what Buster Posey signed. Can I fault Justin Verlander for any of that? Well, the Rays having the strong start? No, they lost the game. Can I lack it to offense when they're not scoring like that? Sure. Can I also lack for offense where they're not coming back in order to do what they need to do? Yep. Are there things that basically need to be touched up and things need to be adjusted? Sure. But how do you adjust with a 42-year-old versus everything else? That right there just screams, I went out and got a 42-year-old who should be at the back part of my bullpen or working with everybody around me in order to make up for what I have and where my strength and value is going to be in the following years. That's where I see Justin Verlander. Do I see him pitching probably next year? I hope not. I'm not saying he's bad for 42. I wish I could go out there and pitch like he did at 42 years old. I'd take a 1-9 record. I'd take 95 Ks. You know, the 4.23 ERA? It's horrible. But you're also giving a 42-year-old man $15 million to throw a ball. What does this mean, though, for the Red Sox? This is what you're dipping to. You want to not be this team right now. You don't want to be the Giants. You want to be the Red Sox. Because you want to have that hot offense that everybody is drooling over. Okay? You want to be that hot hand that everybody's tying over. You want to be this look-up team that is coming into fruition. And here's the beauty part. You needed something that was really big and very, very like strong. The Boston Red Sox, per MLB, okay, from a source, they are on the verge of adding some much-needed pop at first as the club is close to finalizing a deal with free agent Nathaniel Lowe. Nathaniel Lowe is 30 years old. He was designated for assignment by the Nationals on the 14th. He is left-handed for a hitter. He does not have the consistency with Washington. They signed him to a 1-year, $10.3 million contract in the offseason. He was not living up to the hype. He played 119 games. He had 490 at-bats. He's got a .216 batting average. He's got 17 doubles, 2 triples, 16 home runs, and 68 RBIs. Can that help the Red Sox? Well, if Nathaniel Lowe is going to play really good defense, then yes. Okay. MLB goes off to say the Red Sox get someone who played 161 games for the World Series champion Rangers in 2023. The Rangers got a big boost from Lowe in that year's ALCS against the Astros. Belted 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Texas won the series in 7 games. He played 20 games for the Rays in 2020. So that holds very strongly because you've got a platoon of Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez. Romy Gonzalez looks beautiful against left-handed pitching. And he's first, second base. He's not bad. The one worry I basically have is Abraham Toro. Abraham Toro was a hot fireball coming over from the A's. He was basically what Boston needed. He was exactly what needed to fuel the fire, get everything where it was, and he was on an absolute hot streak at the plate. He's what you needed at first base, and he delivered. But as I'm reading this, his last 27 games, he's batting .161, 2 homers, 8 RBIs. It's not as bad as Jackie Bradley. But in the interest of fairness, you need somebody who's going to go in there and play first base. You want someone like Romy Gonzalez to fill in the void, to play versatile against left-handers, but you need someone who's going to take on those right-handers, which is going to be a lot. You need someone who's going to handle first base, and you need someone who's going to have that prowess at defense, but also play as you need them to. If Nathaniel Lowe comes in and he's batting under 200, that's a problem. If he's batting over 220, but he's playing stellar defense at first, he's giving you a little pop here or there, I'm okay with that. You have other guys that are going to pick up the slack. You have other guys that are making those moves that are putting the ball over the fence. They're putting it in the outfield. They're hitting it as seeing eye singles. Great. I've always stated there's got to be one guy, and it's usually the catcher. But Navarro's been a stud. So you can't put it on the catcher because he's hot. Can you have somebody that's going to be your weakest link but be strong on defense? Yes. Why was I so on Jackie Bradley in this case? than any other time because you had a platoon of Carlos Gonzalez. Oh, I'm sorry. You had Christian Vasquez and Sandy Leon. One was decent at the plate. They weren't a stud. They were decent at the plate. But they had problems sometimes controlling pitchers. So I wanted them to focus on the pitcher only and turn off the bat. Sandy Leon had the opposite effect. He was every once in a while where you needed him to be, but he was right and strong with controlling and maintaining pitchers. When Leon is there, and you have Jackie Bradley striking out, popping up, grounding into double plays, you can't waste the bat of Sandy Leon when your center fielder is already that weak bat. That's 2 weak bats you have in the lineup. That hurts. Vasquez helped that, but not all the time. I think where everybody is running on all cylinders, and Abraham Toro is basically taking a massive beating at the plate, and Nathaniel Lowe will basically give you that up and coming strength, mentality, knowing first base, being what he is. It'll help. And what's that going to do? Basically leaves to the fact if he is only at, like I said, 20. I mean, not 20. If he's only at 200, 205, he's doing everything he was basically doing for one team, but reverting with everybody else. Great. Cool. Make it happen. Make it work. Make everything go where it needs to be. I'm great with it. I think if also Nathaniel Lau gets a secondary piece, maybe he didn't feel comfortable playing in the National League. Maybe he just didn't feel a right fit playing under the Washington Nationals, who, last I checked, Washington, they are 50-74. They are dead last. The only other team that's worse than them, and if I'm Nathaniel Lau, I'm saying the same thing. Only team that's worse than them is the Colorado Rockies in the National League. That's sad. I mean, I'm even looking at the National League. The Phillies are running away with everything. The Mets are 5 games. The Mets should not be 5 games behind them. I'm looking at that. That's a travesty. If I'm a Mets fan, I'm pissed. Flat out pissed. Okay? You went out, you spent all that money on Juan Soto, you bulked up the team, you made everything to what it was, and you're 5 games behind the Phillies? The Marlins are 12 games behind the Phillies. Okay. You and the Phillies should be a game or 2 difference between each other. You should be duking it out for the National League East. You should be slaughtering everything to get where they need to be. 5 games behind? That's a massacre. Okay? The Brewers are... Let me tell you something. They've been on a ripe roar. And if anybody knows sports, baseball especially, if anybody knows Brie DeLeo, she roots for the Cubs. To the fact that the Brewers have basically taken over the National League Central and her Cubs are 8 games back, that's sad. She'll look at the Cubs, she'll look at the Red Sox. Thank God she's got the Red Sox, because the Cubs right now are not looking good. 70-53. Yeah, there's 70 wins. But how you're getting destroyed by the Brewers? The Brewers, who, mind you, are probably closer to the best team in baseball right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 78 wins. Their last 10 games, they're 9-1. And I know. A lot of you have said, oh, well, look at the Dodgers. Look at how wonderful they are. 71 wins. You want to talk? Look at the Dodgers and the Brewers, buddy. Yeah. Do me a favor. First off, sit down. Second, have a Coke and a smile. That is exactly what it is. The Dodgers win in payroll. They have probably one of the best ideal two-tier players in baseball combined since the 1930s. Yeah, I said it. The 1930s. You could probably include the 40s and the 50s, because I will, in every which way, want to see Shohei Ohtani go against Babe Ruth. And then I also want to see Shohei Ohtani go up against Ted Williams, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle. Okay? I want to see him go up against these guys. Better yet, I want to see him get pitched to by Catfish Hunter. I want to see him take on Cy Young. I want to see what he does at that time, to where he can be the Diamond Boy. Till then, it's a circus. You paid for a circus. You overpaid for a circus. Okay? You've overpaid for 2/3 of the team. And yes, you've got 71 wins. But it's funny. I'm looking at the Dodgers. And the Padres are 2 games back. The Padres are doing what the Mets should be doing. 2 games back. The Giants, where they were sitting pretty with everything, are 11 games back. And then if I even go into the American League, yeah. See, this is where this makes it tight and tight-knit, and it's going to make me think even more. The Tigers and the Blue Jays are playing phenomenal ball. 73 wins. The Tigers are 7-3. The Blue Jays are 6-4. That's their last 10. The Red Sox are 4-6 in their last one. The Yankees have finally made it up. They're 7-3. The Rays are 12 games behind the Blue Jays. The Red Sox are 5 games. The Yankees are 5.5. To roll this all in and come to a happy circle, a dipshit manager, I would have pitched Chapman. 14 days on 2 days. It's about 7 pitches a game. I think he's a big boy. I think one of the best, and right now, the best closer in baseball. Could have pitched. Because if that game held, you'd be one game up on the Yankees. Not a half a game. But because you took a dip and you took a loss, it dropped you. That's what you don't need. especially your last 10 games where you're 4-6 and the Yankees are 7-3. Because if you want to keep what you're doing, you've got to grind. And anybody knows their statistics. Alex Cora cannot grind. He cannot hold his cavity. He cannot hold his water. He cannot hold his anything to what he is doing. He will falter. He will fail. He will fall on the floor, and it will not look good. Not what I want to see. What is the one thing, though, that I would love to absolutely see? I want to see 3 games back to the Blue Jays. Because if I look at the Red Sox, you've got the Orioles. Those are going to be 2 crucial games that you play. The Orioles are already basically in the dumpster. So you play them today, or it's officially Monday. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can at least get the clarification. The Orioles, you're playing Monday, 7-10. And then you play them Tuesday, 7-10. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's Yank Me City. And you best, in any which way, shape, or form, bring your A game. You need to take 3 out of those 4 games. You need to take both of the games against the Orioles and 3 out of 4 against the Yankees. Because if you, for whatever reason, do a split with either one of them, that is not going to be good. Because then you've got a 4 game against the Orioles. The Pirates roll in. You play the Guardians for 3. You get the Diamondbacks, the Athletics, who are playing some decent ball. Then you got the Yankees again. Then the Athletics. Then you're at the Rays. And here's where the crucial step happens. You play the Blue Jays for 3 games. And then you close out the Tigers in your last 3 games. If I'm looking at this as I want to look at this, and this is me, I don't do analytics. I don't have to sit there like some tomfoolery. I don't have to be Billy Bean thinking to the fact that I know all, looking at numbers and thinking I'm a whiz kid. I'm not. I'm nothing special in the world either. The only thing I am is I'm a guy who likes talking about sports. And that's it. I can lose a couple of these games. But in order for me to lose a couple of these games and at least balance what I need to do, I need to win a good amount of them. To get to the Blue Jays and feel comfortable no matter what happens, I need to take the Yankees, I need to take the Athletics, and I need to take the Rays, and also in any which way, shape, or form, I need to take the Orioles, and I need to win those games. If you play the Guardians, if you get the right step up, and you're looking good, take them out. Because the Guardians, well, they're where you are right now. So they're going to do exactly what they need to do. They're not going to they're not going to chase the Tigers. They're 8.5 games. 8.5. You're 5. Think of where you were in June. Think of where you are now. The landscape for the standings has changed dramatically. It can go one of 2 ways. You either put up, do your diligence, and grind against the teams you need to, and take those games with no problem, like you should have taken against the Marlins tonight. Because if you start losing and the Yankees get their wind, I'll say it, and I'll say it till the day is long. If Alex Cora cannot get this team in the playoffs, and he cannot do what has been changed since June, July, when everything started to rope around, you need to go as of next year. I've already stated how Alex Cora cannot handle a game. He wants to be everybody's friend. I like being everybody's friend, but I also know when I've got to pull teeth when I have to. There's nothing that's going to change that. If you've got to pull the teeth, if you've got to make the absolute effort in everything you're doing, guess what? You've got to be that guy. Horrible outcome, but you got to do it. My money is, and I don't want to say it. I don't. But looking at their schedule and looking at exactly what they did with the Marlins series, I'm kind of scared because I don't see them doing this. I'm hoping to God, and I will come on this podcast and I will state, hey, I was wrong, like I did when they blew up. But they also did a power move, again, getting rid of Rafael Devers. That was not easy. And in certain ways, if they get Nathaniel Lau, that'll be a huge upkeep if they can turn Lau's bad batting into something really good and grinding. You get rid of Abraham Toro's 161 average over the past 27 games, and you put a bat that can go over 200, that's a huge move. If you also take somebody that can hit for power, that again is a huge move. But these types of moves have to come with what you're expecting. You're going to lose a guy. You could lose Toro. You know? And then you don't have his bat, and you don't have his voice, and you don't have his characteristic. Is that okay? I'm hoping so. Because right now, you need someone like Bregman to carry that team. You need someone like Jarren Duran to speak up and carry that team. And that's where the next comment and conversation I'm going to have with the Patriots is a huge motivator. And we'll get to that right as I go. But to finish up with the Red Sox, the team wants you. I'm sorry, the fan base wants you in the playoffs. What is your job right now? Get in the playoffs. What happens if you don't? I think Breslow goes to town and finds somebody that can get them in the playoffs. I think Breslow finds somebody that cannot have what just happened tonight with your closing pitcher. He finds somebody that will make those deals and make those actions stick. And be where they need to be. And do what they need to do. And take care of business as they need to do. These small ball games, you can't be losing. If you are, just call it a day. Go home. See you later. Just call it a night. Clean out your locker. Small ball games are just important as big boy games. Small ball games you need to win. Because, like I said already in the podcast tonight, if your ace goes out there and slings a phenomenal game. And you've got a crumb bum dumpster that comes in and blows the game, and you don't put in your closer? Here's a general idea I'll tell you. Closing pitchers, they're meant to close. If you have a guy who's blowing a lead, put your best guy in. That's your closer. If it's the ninth and he lets up 2 runs and you got 1 run left, you put in your closer. Biggest rendition in baseball. Closers, no. They are on call, moment's notice. Aroldis Chapman has always been one of those guys. You need him, he goes in. You need him to pitch, he handles it. How do you think Mariano Rivera got to be the godlike of saves and closers? I'll say it as a Red Sox fan. Mariano Rivera was God. I mean, near the end, he started like basically, showing the kryptonite to the Red Sox. But when the Yankees were those star-studded guys who ruled the 90s and, had Derek Jeter and they were going like, hey, we're winning these championships. Mariano Rivera didn't care about how many days rest. He didn't. You know what he cared about? I'm going to go in there and close this game. Because that's my job. That's what the Yankees are paying me to do. And I need to close out a game. Jonathan Papelbon would say the same thing. I'm here to close out a game. You've got 1 run left. You put me in, and you let me close it. I don't care if I've pitched 3 days straight. I don't care if I've pitched 5 days straight. I throw an inning a game. I throw about 10 to 12 pitches per game. That's nothing. That's playing catch in the backyard. I'm not averaging 100 and something pitches per game, per week. You can put me in and close the game. Hey, who knows? The game you wanted to use me for next week, the following day, it could be a blowout. Hey, guess what? I get a day off. Woo! Do we need to win games? Yes, get me in there. Koji Uhara knew the same thing. A closer is to close out a game. A close game. A game that needs to be handled. A game that needs to be won. A closer goes in. If you can't have the conversation and communicate with your closer, because if your closer comes out and says, I ain't pitching, that's a problem on the closer. But if I know Aroldis Chapman and his grit, he's probably pissed he didn't go in. Just like Chris Sale, when he got pissed, he would throw things, but he'd go out on the mound and shut you off. He would zone. And you think to the fact that Aroldis Chapman wouldn't feel the same way? Let me in, let me play. That man should have pitched. And that's on Cora. Because Cora is well known for taking these small rink-dink wins and losses and blowing them. I believe before June, he had, or the end of June, he had what? 16 one-run games that he lost because he couldn't manage the proper way to handle a game. He couldn't manage it properly because he was out in the wings and everybody else should have been where they needed to. Someone want to tell me why we need Alex Cora, and I'll tell you why we don't. I'll wait for that day that someone wants to argue with me about Alex Cora till I'm blue in the face. Because there are multiple ways and multiple reasons why I can say that Alex Cora is not going to have these Red Sox win games. I'm hoping for the best that they go into the playoffs. I'm hoping for the best that they do what they need to. But to win another championship, to do what they need to do, if I had to bet on Alex Cora, I would put my money elsewhere. That's a betting line, I will say. If you feel the same way, tell me. We've got we've got the we've got the speak pipe. You guys can drop your comments, drop everything there. Speak pipe is great. You know, I mean, we've got people that burp and fart on there, and let's put it this way: the last guy who left a burp and a fart, I think his name was Justin. He actually put his name. Now, I'm not sure if it's real. Jeff. Yep. It was a week ago, and there was a 2-second, a 5-second, and a 1-second. And this person made 3, and I mean 3 different email accounts to just plaster himself right on here and burp. And like Joe says, if you've got a troll, you made it. And I like that. The fact that this guy's got to do this, I'm not playing your shit. That's first off. Secondly, your content is whack as hell. And I'm not going to bring it to actually come on my page because, well, let's put it this way. If I'm going to burp, if I'm going to fart, I'm going to make it worthwhile. And yours are lackluster at best. I think a 5-year-old, better yet, I think an infant that basically craps his pants and gets burped by mommy can do better than what you've done on my speak pipe. So feel free also, if you actually want to leave a comment, if you want to leave something juicy, something great, if you want to leave something that basically blows our mind, please do. I would love to play it on air. I would love to play it in the podcast. I would love to basically have your name, your voice, your everything just right over here. And it please don't make it a burp or fart or anything like that. And if you do, just say, hey, here's my take, here's my thought, here's my process. By the way, here's to the guy that sucks, and let one go. I'm fine with that. It's real. It's great. It's the wonder of it all. I'm great with that. I will share that till the day is long. Because then this Jeff twerp has nothing to go off of because his stuff is crap. I think I played it once and I was sitting there like, is that a burp? Is that a fart? What is that? And I just didn't care. Now I've got 3 of them that were a week ago. I could care less. I really could care less. Because, Jeff, if that is your real name, your burp and farts are lame. And they're not worthy of my podcast. And you can record anybody you want, you can do anything, but they're not worth it, sir. Sorry. And that was baseball. That was burping, and hey, guess what? That was another bodily function. Does that include for anything else? Are we on a roll today? Hey, guess what? Let me talk about the Patriots because I have I have every like thing I'm looking at is just getting me fully excited um for this team. I'm looking at everything. Everything looks proper. Everything looks great. Couple whistles in the wind here or there. Uh, but all in all, the team is holding its own. It's getting stronger. It's doing what preseason is meant to do. It's showing you where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are. And I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at the passing. Josh Dobbs looked okay. Some of his throws were a little bit over head. Some of them were not on point where they needed to be. Um, I do believe to the fact that like there was even Kyle Williams, who he got banged up in the second quarter. It was a throw that should have been right to him. It was a little high. He had to jump up. He had no way of running around when he came back down and turned. Wham. And he's of course one of the rookies. He's gonna have moments, and it's gonna be what it is. But to see that, Josh Dobbs should at least know better. He's a little bit more of a veteran. He should be carrying that tool, and making the better progress for what should be expected in every single way, shape, or form. Um, he was 11 for 16. He had 106 yards. He had a touchdown. One of the things I will say that was absolutely phenomenal, and I keep on seeing like, hey, how do the Patriots come up with like these small white guys that are on the team as wide receivers? What are they doing? Are they holding open in auditions? Are they just hoping to the fact that somebody is going to be like the strength? But Efton Chisholm the third, I saw him with 3 receptions for the day. One of them was a beautiful touchdown that just basically made him kind of very loose, very easy, and just go right in there. He's got something that I like. He's small, and probably over the next year or two, can I see him bulk up and kind of give you the not so much as like a tight end like look, but kind of like a look like Austin Hooper, where his size height wise, he's going to be small. He's going to remind me of Barry Sanders height wise. Barry Sanders was small himself. But if he bulks up, he can look like a Julian Edelman. He can remind me of Austin Hooper. And the reason I say that is because he wants to get like the game I saw with Minnesota, he looked a little bit like a dog. He wanted to get those extra yards. He wanted to fight for those extra possessions. That's what I want to see in preseason because I want to see something like that. Heaven forbid if he's got to be in a real game. I want to see that still goes. That's what made Edelman great. That's what made Wes Welker do what he did, especially as slot receivers. You fought for those extra 2 to 3 to 4 yards, and you did everything you literally could to make sure the ball moved forward. Danny Amendola did the same thing. And like Danny Amendola had like a lot of injuries. And the injuries stemmed from when he was with St. Louis to when he was with the Patriots. I just see Efton Chisholm, if he can get that extra bulk and he can do a little bit more, I have a feeling he can make this team. That's just my thought. Other notable things. I did make a comment while watching the game. And one of the fantastic comments I made was something about Mike Vrabel is changing the team's dynamic. And I'm here for it. Because with the Gerard Mayo regime, with the last year, 2 of the Belichick era, this team lacked a little bit. And I want somebody to basically tell me if I'm on point with this or if I'm basically blowing smoke. Has anybody noticed since Mike Vrabel has taken over that the special teams is now front and center of a lot of things that they're doing? It's not so much as offensive special teams, it's defensive special teams. It's clearing routes. It's making sure the runner has viable position to make what they've done. I've watched and seen highlights from 2 preseason games. And the only thing I've seen that's been monumental have been run backs. You have Marcus Jones. He's willing to run back. You had Trevon Henderson, who's willing to run back. But are these guys fast? Sure. Are they agile? Yeah. But what helps them do what they do? The defensive aspect of it. Did you notice how many holes were created during special teams? Go back and watch it again. And like I said, leave comments. I want to know this. Are you noticing that the Patriots are putting more emphasis on special teams? Can you name me another team who is putting emphasis again on special teams? Because I couldn't find a one. Special teams right now with the Patriots is looking huge. And that was a secret to Belichick winning games. He would pull special teams. He would pull special teams plays. Why Matthew Slater was a captain. Why he was an intricate part of that special teams unit. He didn't have to play wide receiver. He worked with special teams and made monumental stops. They made monumental plays. But if anybody also wants to know where special teams is supposed to be that important, where do you want to start? Do you want to start at your 15 or 20 or 25 yard line because you got a touchback? Or do you want to start at the 40? Do you want to start at your opponent's 40? I know I'm going to answer this, and I want to know from you guys. You're going to want to start at your opponent's 40 because you're already ready for a field goal. You're already ready to make that mark, that aspect, that everything you're looking at. So what do you want from here on in? You want that great field position. What gets you there? What am I seeing from the Patriots right now that they're showing their special teams. Is this important? Does anybody else think that this is an important aspect, an important piece to carry? And I want to know what to you does Mike Vrabel have in this carry that he's doing with this special teams unit that'll help him on offense, that'll help him on defense? If I'm a defensive team and I'm kicking off, I want special teams deep as possible. I want them nowhere past the 25-yard line. If I'm an offensive team, I want to get that ball as far down as possible. Do you think some of these rookie guys or some of the team players or some of the guys that'll probably be lingering around the team afterwards, do you think these guys could be strong special teams guys? Do you think Mike Vrabel is doing it for a reason? To maybe give you what you want? I'm looking at replay after replay, and I'm looking at everything that's going on. And like I said, I'm not seeing something at the 25-yard line. I'm not seeing anything at the 18, the 23. I'm seeing balls at the 35. I'm seeing balls at the 40. I'm seeing balls get over the 50-yard line. Stop thinking dirty. Because I was. But of all seriousness, think about it. Think and put yourself in the position that I'm mentioning. Look at the games. Look at where their offensive special teams is putting them. And then look at the defensive special teams and look where they're putting the offense of the other team. Am I wrong? Am I thinking this too much outside the box? Or am I getting something where it's going to be monumental because this team could have something in the special teams aspect? And if they do, that's going to be big. Because, yes, you're not going to have a lot of yardage for Drake May. You're not going to have a lot of yardage for Stephon Diggs. But could you score more? Could you stop the team from scoring those 3 points that'll help you win a game? Where also last year, during the Mayo era, where we finally have held the Mayo, where was he lacking? Where has this team lacked in the past couple years? Defense was one of the strongest you could actually go on. It was characterized that this was a strong defense. In that aspect, with being a strong defense, what did you hold back with? What was the one thing that stopped you? If it's special teams and you agree with me, let me know. If to the fact that you think in any which way that it wasn't special teams, it was, let's talk about Gerard Mayo and how much he sucked. Hey, let's talk about Bill Belichick and how much he basically ran the team out. Or were these guys going off of strength, characteristic, other things that made this team exactly what it should have been, which was special teams? Bill Belichick, when he first got here, one of the things he implemented on was special teams. Special teams was a monumental aspect to any game because they showed where you started, they showed where you ended, they showed where somebody would score from, and where you can stop them from doing so. If you had more coverage to do, you were less likely to score in any which way if you went 4 and out. So, got to give it in that manner. Because I'm looking at this, and here's why I say this. Okay? Bryce Behringer had 4 punts, 208 yards. His average is 52. Had 2 of them in the 20. Andreas Borlagas, his longest was 51. He was 1 for 2. John Parker Romo, he was 1 for 1. His longest was 28. Punt returns and kick returns. Marcus Jones had 1 punt return, 37 yards. That's close to half the field. Afton Chisholm had 1 for 9. Jeremiah Webb, Trayvon Henderson, Jermichael Hasty had 4 returns. 2 were for Jeremiah Webb, 1 was for Henderson, and 1 was for Hasty. Hasty had 1 for 22 yards. Trayvon Henderson had 1 for 26. And Jeremiah Webb had 2 for 82. You see in the category of where you're starting versus where you want to start? I'm going to go out on a limb that if they probably left the end zone, they were nowhere near the end zone. So you went up past the 25. Trayvon Henderson, even if you got it at the 5 or you got it at the goal line, he went 26 yards. He went over the 25-yard line. That's your goal. Get it over that mark and get more yards than what you're starting from, because it makes your offense much more aggressive. On the opposite side of the coin, Miles Price had 1 for 81 yards. That was 81. That was basically his gone. You had Ty Felton, Xavier Schott, Silas Bolden. 21, 20, and 19. You had Miles Price, who had 2 punt returns. Yes, 2 punt returns. He had 33 yards in the punts, which was an average of 16.5. Did he go anywhere? No. But looking at those kick returns, Miles Price probably turned into something. But I don't think so, because they didn't score touchdowns. They did score 3 points. So when I look at things in that manner, the 81 yards, but you're still not showing a touchdown, that's a good thing, because now your defense holds it down. But when you're looking at a kick return of 21 yards, 20 yards, and 19 yards, you held them under a 25-yard. That's good defense. That's where you want to. The Patriots were showing more. Now, if I look at the game prior, which was the Commanders, if I look at Patriots stats first. Kick returns. Trayvon Henderson, 100 yards. Had a touchdown. Antonio Gibson had 1 run, 62 yards. Lynn Larison, 1 return, 25 yards. Now, Trayvon Henderson basically ran down the field and scored, and that's basically what you want to do all the time. Antonio Gibson had the 62-yard run. It's beautiful. And Len Larison had the 25-yard bump. Is it over 25 yards? Is it over your 25-yard line? Yep. Is that what you want? Yeah. Punt returns. Afton Chisholm had 1 for 11, and Marcus Jones had 1 for 0. But they only punted twice. Not too bad. John Parker Romero, though, if I look at the kicking, he had 1 for 1. His longest was 57 friggin' yards. That's a gorgeous thing. Ben Woldridge actually had the better game. He was 9 for 12, 132 yards. Josh Dobbs was 5 for 12 for 45 yards. Drake May played small ball. Ramondre Stevenson had the game, 7 carries. Antonio Gibson had 6 carries. Trevon Henderson had 1 carry. It was 18 yards and basically blew it out of the water. There's something along the lines, though, when I'm looking at this, that Ramondre Stevenson is probably going to be a little bit more of a muscle, basically the power back. Antonio Gibson, I can see being a flex back. Josh McDaniels likes carrying 3 running backs. The reason being is because you have someone like James White, which Antonio Gibson would match, but then you have someone as explosive and powerful that can basically match a 1-2 punch when you need speed or you need finesse in order to get the couple yards. Drafting Trayvon Henderson, you have the speed. Holy shit, does this kid run? It's glorious. It's wonderful. It's making me excited for this running game. And it's something I think that when you look at Josh McDaniels, he's going to take this and make it probably a beautiful weapon, because at some point he's going to have really good runs that's going to unlock Drake May's potential to bomb the ball down the field. That's what I want. I want to see everything that I can out of Drake May and make it basically rain. I want to see bombs made from a bomb factory, and I want them thrown in proper locations. That'll do everything that my expectation is. So since I got a little bit off topic, this actually proves my point here. Kick returns. Three guys, 9 kick returns. Casimir Allen had 4 returns for 101 yards, which is average of just about 25. Demetric Felton had 4 for 78 yards, which was under 20. It was 19.5. And then Noah Ingraham had 1 for 25 yards, which was exactly 25. So Demetric Felton, he fell under the aspect. Casimir Allen was just a little over. Noah just had the 1 run. But then you're looking at Jalen Lane, who had 2 punt returns, maximum of 5 yards. So Tress Way, his average was 48 yards of a punt. He had 4 punts at 195 yards. So when you're kicking about 50 yards away, you're getting them deep. Where punt returns, well, where you basically only had 2 instead of the 4, yeah, it makes a huge difference. I still say it it's just there's something about this team right now that gets me a little bit more wound up. It gets me a little bit more excited. It gets me juiced, I guess, of a way to look at it. Um, and I mean, looking at the team stats, I want to see like Saturdays, but I'm looking at the one from Washington 23 first downs, 7 of 14, which is 50% for third down efficiency. 2 for 2 on fourth down, which shows they went with it. They had 61 plays. They only allowed 1 sack. They had 2 punts. They had 2 penalties. Two penalties. Or if I look at the other side of the ball, they were 13. Washington Commanders had 2 interceptions thrown, which means the defense was in their right position. That is something you want to see. And then when I go into the Vikings game, looking at the team stats, so penalties got a little bit bad. It was 10 for 64 yards, but then again, oh no, wait, no. I'll shut up. 7 penalties for 40 yards versus Minnesota, who had 10 for 64. They had 19 first downs. They were 12 of 20 for third down efficiency, which is definitely a little over the 50%, exactly what you want. 0 for 1 on fourth. 70 total plays versus the 63 that Minnesota had. They did not allow a sack, which is monumental because they're showing strength and prowess. They had no interceptions thrown again. Beautiful. Minnesota threw 2. Again, just the overall. And I said this to Joe, and I'll tell him I said it. But there was a point where we're sitting at the table and we're watching the game, and I said there's something about the sideline that is completely different than a Gerard Mayo sideline. It's structure. It's more. It seemed like it wanted to be there. It seemed like it wanted to run flawlessly. It seemed like it wanted to take over and play Patriots football the way we've come to know Patriots football. Of the Brady era, of the Belichick era, of the Robert Kraft purchasing era. A lot just gelled. And I know what a lot of listen, it's preseason, it's this. But when you see comfort level of a different ilk in secondary players, in third string players, in fourth string players, in special teams, it's making something work properly. What it's doing, that's what I still want to know. Because when I look at the current team, and then I look at everything from last year, and I look at everything from the year before, am I comfortable with Mike Vrabel? Yeah. I'm in a bad neighborhood. I'd leave my door unlocked at night. That's how comfortable I feel with Mike Vrabel right now, looking at the team, because it's done that complete 180. Do I feel comfortable with Um, do I feel comfortable with Josh McDaniels? There's time that's going to tell, because the two things that I'm seeing is the offensive line and the way they're being built. The offensive line coach is completely different. The wide receivers coach, different. Tight ends coach, different. There's something about the carry on that roster that I'm looking at that is completely different. When I see that versus what I'm seeing on the other end of things, which is looking at the Gerard Mayo, looking at the end of Belichick in not only the first year, but like the second to last year. This team just looks poised, presentable, and who knows? It could be like Tommy Boy. You put a piece of shit in a box and you mark it guaranteed. It's a guaranteed piece of shit. And it's funny because Saturday I'm sitting at the card show and I see a Callahan Auto T-shirt. So of course, what does this remind me of? It reminds me of Tommy Boy, where it's um this is basically what you're like looking at, what you're seeing. And right now, structurally, fundamentally, like even if the team goes 500, even if they look semi okay, the dynamic of what you see, even in a preseason game, looks like guys who are going to dinner with the cheapest date possible they paid for on Temu. And they're dressed in $500 suits, $1,000 suits. But yet their date is the cheapest thing available from Temu, which is probably $12.49. That's what I'm meaning. We could see how bad that date is going to be. Josh McDaniels does a lot of things he overthinks. Mike Vrabel just breaks down. He's not holding it together right. He's getting frustrated by like the third quarter, the fourth quarter. Anything like that can basically happen. But we've seen Mike Vrabel handle games. He doesn't do that a lot. So that's a good thing. But what I'm seeing now versus what I'm seeing in other pieces from Mike Vrabel, from what I've seen from Josh McDaniels, from what I've seen about these other guys on defense, there's a monumental change that I have a feeling that a guy put on a $30,000 suit. We'll call him Barney Stinson. Wink. And you didn't order your date from Temu. You basically ordered them from Las Vegas, flew them out to New England, and you bring them to Maine to have a lobster dinner. Hell, you bring them to Michael Jordan's because you want to give them that $340 flight. See, there's reasons why I mention things that I do. All comes back full circle. Is this something that you could see? Sure. Is it what you want to see? Because if you agree with me, what I want to see is exactly what I'm seeing. I want to see the guys in the $25,000 suits that fly the date from Vegas to here, spending probably $10,000, $15,000. I want them to come from Saks Fifth Avenue. I want them to come from Michael Kors. I want them to come from I don't know, insert some rich girl named Calvin Klein. I don't care. I want them to come from there. I do not want them to come from Temu. Because that's what this is. When You made an agreement to sign Gerard Mayo last year. I don't think you understood what you were getting into. I think you went through Timu, got the cheapest thing possible, and everything you looked at possible to structure down the team, break everything down. And this is my take. I will state this, and anybody can listen to it if they want to. I really feel that Gerard Mayo was put there to fail. Not just fail, to strip a team down to its bare essential, to show how weak and broken and brittle you can be, and fight for something that needs the structure. And I think with Gerard Mayo, where he had no direction, he had no amplitude, he had nothing for it, he failed the team and he didn't put his best foot forward. Because again, last year, you went with Jacoby Brissett, who had no business starting. He had no business starting from preseason. He had no business starting anywhere he was. There was just something missing about what he was doing, and he did not belong there. Drake May, for some reason, had a gusto, but you had to give the team life. So week 7, you went with the gusto. And the gusto basically destroyed every imaginable thing you would want. It showed life. But you still had a destroyed team. You had confidence that was ripped to shreds. You had everything imaginable that, like, anybody who was on that team had no faith. Now you have Mike Vrabel, a man who's well spoken, a man who carries himself. He's a man of action. He is somebody who has changed around the Tennessee Titans and made them contenders, even with Derrick Henry. But he put things around Derrick Henry to make Derrick Henry what he was. Of course, Derrick Henry went to the Baltimore Ravens, where even the Baltimore Ravens have a strong offensive line. Try being Barry Sanders for a day. Piss poor offensive lines, you still throw 115 yards a game. That's talent. But with it, you've got to know your structure is broken. Everybody always knew Detroit was broken in some way, shape, or form. I, for one, have the secret thing where I literally had a beautiful aspect that Joey Harrington was going to be a very, very, very good quarterback. And for whatever reason, he had signs and flashes of being that strong, capable quarterback. But there was nothing ever that came out of that. And that's basically the blowback that I hate. That's what I kind of like look as a lacking aspect in this situation. Drake May could possibly be one of the better quarterbacks of the era. Daniels could be exactly what he is. We saw the flash of what he was going, what he is, what he's probably going to be, how great he's going to be. Bo Nix has a strong suspicion of being, again, like Drake May. Um, he's got a lot of pop, a lot of versatility, a lot of everything that's going. You also got to watch Cam Ward now because he is a rookie who will be in this battling for his supremacy. Um, you'll also have Michael Penix. Uh, can't make that mistake. Oh no, wait, that's already been done. Crap. Um, you got Michael Penix, who'll probably be someone who's going to step in the limelight and show, hey, if they start building around me, can I do something with this team? That's what you want. You know? So when I look at the Patriots, I'm jazzed because I'm seeing more positivity to it than I'm seeing a lot of breakdown. So looking over those two games, looking a lot of what you see physically, think of it in this manner. If you've ever been a person who runs a restaurant, if you've ever been that guy that would basically run a business or do something, and the one thing you see is like, you see strength, you see casual, promise. You basically know that you can sit in that shadowed area and watch what you're looking at, and you see probably more than what you're bargained for. That's exactly what I'm seeing now when I look at the Patriots. And I know it's only preseason. But again, it doesn't look like Tommy Callahan took a shit, threw it in a box, and marked it guaranteed. It looks like a proper Callahan auto part. Popped pristinely in its box, ready to do its job. If that be the case, I'm going to breathe the ever sigh of relief because Patriots football is back. And that's what I want. And I've gone way over time. Crap! Why do I not have people that monitor this stuff? Listen, if you guys have basically been here for the past 2.5 hours with me, first off, thank you. Secondly, football is back. I'm so excited. You have no idea. I would comment a couple things like what I've seen in movies, but I'll leave it be. Going forth with everything of what we're looking at, though, I will tell you right now, Wednesday, 8:30. It's one of those times. It'll be posted. I'll make a video on Boston Concessions on TikTok. It'll go right into where we're going to be on Twitter, X, whatever it is. It'll also be, I'll have a graphic on Instagram. The beauty part of this is I am going to be live talking about how I feel about football, how I feel about everything going on. I'm going to have a lot more talk and chat. I know I could have talked about all the other games that have basically gone on. I know I could have. I also could have talked about one of the things I wanted to talk about, which was one of my favorite movies. Clue will be celebrating its 40th anniversary going back to theaters, and you'll see one of 3 magical endings. So they're not going to do the, hey, it could have happened this way, it could have happened this way. You'll be sitting in the theater, and it will tell you it's this ending. And that's how the movie will end. And it's beautiful. It's monumental. It's how Clue should have been. Go see it for multiple times because you don't know which ending you're going to see. So that is the reason why I'm rolling this out and stating it now, is because this is how we're going to talk about football. And I'm hoping in every which way, guys that are drafting with me on this Yahoo fantasy football, they're gonna be in the chat. I want them to talk with me, say like, "Hey, dude, you suck," and all this other stuff, and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, your mom." I'm excited because football, you know. For anyone watching on YouTube, if you've ever watched Family Guy, let's talk a little John Madden. Football. I I will give I will give a shout out to Joe Murray, um, who I thank you in every which way for being probably one of the best coaches to talk to me about certain things. To bring this shitty episode to a to a monumental aspect. Uh, just for reading that, I'll say this because it was Joe who had the piece done. And I made a comment, and the comment I did make. I love that people out there think that this doesn't matter. Of course it does. Fecal lives matter. Taking out the lives, fecal matter. Almost everyone out there talks about poop. This guy wrote an article on Reddit. It's not that bad. Some of us just aren't stuck up. And I told Joe to keep on pooping. The bottom line of this is exactly what you don't want to see. Like, listen, things are going to happen. Okay, you're going to have teams in the MLB that are going to start crapping their pants. They're going to start making errors. They're going to start, you know, blasting their way to the toilet, and it's not going to be like a good way because they're going to flush their dreams of going to the playoffs right down the toilet bowl. Where's there a fault in that? It's their fault. There are teams that are going to be so hyped for what they're going to do in this NFL season that they're basically going to be the smear on the wall, the guy who misses the toilet because they crapped out. I didn't play craps when I went down to Connecticut, so I didn't crap out in that manner. Although the food I did eat did cause me to poop. I'm gonna have to like actually tell somebody that you have to listen to 2 hours and 40 minutes of me because there's just craptastic galore somewhere. And I don't know what set me off to do it. I don't really care. To me, I don't know. I just to me I find it funny. It's poop. You know, I had my mom tell me that somebody needed. Um, Normally I hear stool sample. Um, and she used a different word, and I laughed for 2 minutes. I'm on the phone with her, and I'm laughing. Don't know why. Um, it was just something about what she utilized for a word, and right now I can't even think about it. That's basically where my brain is. Um, oh, specimen. She didn't call it a stool sample. She called it a stool specimen. So if you hear the word stool specimen, I'm sorry. I hear stool specimen, I laugh because like a specimen is like, hey, I just dressed it up and I put it in a box for you and it's ready to go. To where a sample is just like, hey, it's here. We're gonna send it off. It's fine. But for me, hearing about a specimen, it just makes me laugh. It throws my head back and like in every which way, I just have some joy somewhere in the world. Um, but like it's bottom line of it. I mean, I've had a shitty week. You know, I wasn't ready for the show. I was supposed to do a show like, the Sunday when I came back. I wanted to do one Monday. That didn't happen. I was supposed to do one Tuesday. It didn't happen. Supposed to do a couple other things. Didn't happen. Um, I didn't really move from like I told you. I didn't move from the house. Um, I saw Joe when he did his card show. Which I said, hats off to Jeff um at the best flipping card show. It is probably one of the best flipping card shows around. Um, is one of the best card shows I've also been to. So there's a little plug for Jeff. I don't care. I don't get paid for this stuff. Probably never will. But either which way, it's the bottom line of it is like this is a podcast for things I enjoy. And I know a lot of people are probably going to make comments to the fact like, hey, I like shit. I really don't. I like laughing at it. If someone farts, I laugh. The noise is funny. When the smell comes in, it's even worse. When someone uses the word specimen, um, I'm just laughing. I don't care. So, if anybody really wants to know why I made this about crap, I really don't know. I had no intention of coming on here and running amok with half the stuff I talked about. All I know is that I was away. I wanted to come and tell you guys a cool story about what I did. I want to tell you about two good movies I saw. Even though one of them was mediocre. And then tell you how I felt about shit. And then talk about the Red Sox and the Patriots. And then I'm smiling and laughing because I'm trying to say the word specimen again. And it's just, it's failing me. In some ways, I'm either going to see one of two things. This is one of my best episodes ever because I'm probably overtired. I have two things to do before I go to bed, and I'm laughing hysterically. Or this is my shittiest episode, and I don't care because I'm not. It's mine. Nobody can tell me like, hey, I'm horrible at this, and get me to stop because I enjoy myself. So. But if you've been along for the ride this long, thank you. Because I will tell you wholeheartedly, there are things that will bring a lot of things that like I do, and that one of them is just talking this. It's great, it's cozy, it's things that I do. It's why like I now have the TikTok page, so get me to 50 so this way I can get streaming on TikTok and TikTok. It'll be monumental. It'll be great. It won't be the shittiest situation ever. But we'll start doing like some more video stuff, and I'll get back into like the editing program that I've been doing. We'll make some magic. By the way, if anybody does get a chance, there was something I did post, and I did ask a monumental question. It's the only thing I'll say about Celtics. Has anybody seen to the fact that, like, the statue given off for the Patriots for Tom Brady? Can someone tell me why that looks like fucking Brad Stevens? And I did a comparison. I put Brad Stevens on one side. I put the statue on the other. It looks like Brad Stevens. It's supposed to look like Tom Brady. It doesn't. It looks like Brad. They fucked up. I've sworn a lot this episode too. So mind your children, mind your P's, mind your Q's with everything I literally have been dropping. Because holy crap. Oh, now just to get my friend Mike to listen to 2 hours and 47 minutes of this jargon. Because I know to the fact I'm going to get the first 30, 45 minutes of anything that he laughs at. He's going to send me in a message on Facebook, and I'm going to laugh. And if he gets this far and I hear specimen, I'm done. I'm done. Okay? I might even like name my team the specimens. So that's the other thing. There'll probably be a thing where you can write in. Feel free to like actually go on SpeakPipe, leave me a message. I need a team name. We're going into Wednesday. I will mention this on the pod. I need a team name. I want a team name. I want something that brings out not just the color of my eyes. I want something that brings out the fire and the passion of how crappy this year is going to be. Carbe these nuts. God, I can't wait for football. But on that, we've got the music. We've got everything going. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for whoever has heard this. I'm sorry for it being like the most crappiest episode in the world. So basic, so easy. But I thank you also for joining me. And hopefully we get back to like this being a little bit, well, we want it to be silly. We don't I've seen so many like videos and everything like of these guys that just, well, now I'm going to tell you what happens. It's like, dude, you're not Walter Cronkite. Shut the fuck up. It's only sports. Some guys just can't relax. You know, they can't pull it in. They got to like mention that, hey, let me tell you what Trevon Henderson did. 100 yards, look at him, champion. Dude, relax the bowels. Let the air out. It's just going to make a noise. But it's okay. We got you. So to everybody I mentioned and everything, I'm tagging you like, no, tomorrow. This is going to be fun. To everybody here who stuck around, there were a couple people in chat. Well, not in chat, but there were a couple people lurking and everything like that. Thank you immensely. If you listen to this on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, and iHeart something, wherever the hell you find your podcasts, look up Boston Concessions. We're here. We're there. We're everywhere. And if you don't find us there, tell me. I'll probably like insert it. Won't be a problem. Thank you for the episode. Thank you for being here. We'll be back Wednesday. Live draft. I don't know what I'm doing. To everybody, thank you. And have a good night, morning, evening, whichever one you're listening with. Take care, all.